Okay, hi everyone. I'm Leah Spencer, in case you didn't know, and this is home birthing in your bathtub. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm sorry. I know, that's what we had to say, but save it for last. Okay, just wondering if anybody here has ever had this experience. Have you guys ever talked to someone and you're talking to them and you're like, something is just not quite right? Like, what are you talking about? Or that does not make sense. Or you know what I'm saying? Something's off. Has anyone ever had this experience before? I'm sure you have. Have you ever had the experience where maybe somebody walks into a room and before you could even say anything to them or they say anything to you, you're like, whoa, do not go over there. She's in a bad mood. Those kind of things. Has anyone had those experiences too? Yeah, Trent's never had that happen, I'm sure, in his entire life. Well, if I may, I'd like to give you an example of something that I just went, something is not right here. I was in primary a couple months ago, and the second counselor in the primary presidency gets up, on the podium, and she's like, I'm so excited to be here with you children today. It's like, I'm so excited to be here with you. Just like that. And I was like, what? This does not make sense. Like, she's all just barreled up and I was like, she's not excited to be here. She's scared to death. She's like staring at us. She's scared. And so what she was saying out of her mouth wasn't what was coming across and what her body language was telling me. Does that make sense to anybody else too? So sometimes when we have that happen, your body is not lying necessarily. It's telling the truth, which is not a bad thing, but it doesn't match what you're saying. And when you have conflicting messages, you look like a liar sometimes. Does anybody want to look like a liar? Because I have for a long time. Okay, so what we're going to do, good communication, guys, I'm sure all of us who are married, is really the foundation of successful relationships. And so if you guys would like to improve your relationship, maybe, let me see a little hands up. Okay, yeah, because I did too for a long time, but I didn't know how. So we're going to be discussing how we can kind of improve our communication skills and why and how this breakdown kind of happens in the conflicting messages. So it's something I don't have drawn anything. It's something I feel so strongly about. I've been studying it, going to classes about it, and it's improved my relationships with my family and with everyone I come in contact with astronomically. I didn't even know what I didn't know before and what I was emitting in my body language, in addition to what I was perceived. Now I can kind of perceive things in my children a little bit better when I'm communicating with them. So it's really, really helped us. Not to mention just huge amounts of opportunities are opening up just from this different mind shift. So I'm going to share, if that's okay with you guys, some ideas on how we can kind of improve our communications. So, is it safe to assume that after we heard Valerie's fantastic energy explanation that everyone is aware that we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind? Am I safe to assume that? Okay, I'm going to write a little number here on the board, and I'm going to let you guys know that 93% of our communication between you and I and between one another is not words. Is not words. So what does that leave? Anybody? Can you do the math real fast? 7% is words. Everything else, guys, is in your body, is in your tone, is in everything that's not what we call non-verbal. Is that crazy? Because I thought it was kind of crazy. Okay, and you guys are allowed to talk in my presentation, by the way. If I ask you a question, you go, uh-huh, that's totally fine. Okay, so we're going to get a little data heavy for a second because I want you guys to kind of understand how this works. So I love the data part. So what I'm going to do is draw your head. Here you go. There's you, and you're so cute, and you got a big smile, and maybe a little buck tooth or whatever. Okay, so there's your head, and so if we break it kind of into a little pie, kind of like so, every single day, now you can tell in this little part of the head is your senses, right? Here's where you see, you smell, you taste, you're feeling, all of your senses. Every day, billions of information is bam, bamming at you, all single day long. Anybody experience that? All day long. And you don't even know what's coming at you sometimes, other than a million bazillion things. And so it's all coming at you, and it's coming through your senses, through all that, and it's coming through what we call the reticular activating system. So it's this filter that's in your brain. We'll just call it for purposes here, the RAS, or the filter. And luckily, you have a filter because your conscious mind cannot handle 40 billion bits of information per second, but your subconscious mind can totally handle it. So, but your conscious mind can't. You can only handle like 7 bits of information kind of consciously. Subconscious, bam, no problem. So it filters it out, and here it comes. Bam, goes through the filters, and it comes through there. So now you have to respond because you're, communicating or whatever sensory information is coming through. You have to respond. So obviously, you need to come back out this way. But as you're doing this, your control center, which we'll call this right here, part of your brain, is doing a fantastic job through this filter, and it can formulate 650 words per minute. Okay, so it's coming back at you. Your control center can bust out 650 words per second, but can anybody here speak? I mean, per minute, I'm sorry. Can anyone here speak 650 words per second, per minute? No. So luckily, it filters it out, and when you're sending it back out this way, the average is 150 words per minute that can come out of your mouth. The average person can speak that. So my husband's probably more like 45 words per minute. Trent, you're probably the exact same way. Okay, so does anybody see a little bit of a problem here? Do the math. Where are the extra 450 plus words? Missing in action, aren't they? They're coming out this way and shooting down this way. Anybody know what would be below your head? Yeah, your body, exactly. So, are you guys kind of seeing how this works? 450 words per minute are busting out through your body. So, this does not mean that you're some kind of like confused person, but you come across confused sometimes. Like, so just like the lady at my primary, she was not excited to be there in any way, shape, or form. She was scared to death because when the sensory was coming at her, she was going on what her values teacher. Everyone has a different filter. It's based on like your values that you learned as a child, or values, your beliefs, all those different things. So we all have a little bit of a different filter. So her filter says, oh my gosh, a lot of people, I'm scared. And it was telling her that, and that's what it was looking for, and it was coming out through her body language as, I'm so scared. So does anybody here ever feel confused or when you're speaking to someone? Okay, tell your neighbor, sorry, I can be confusing. Sorry, I can be confusing. You guys are such goofballs. You're allowed to play. It's okay. I love it. Okay, so is this making somewhat of sense? Yes. We're going on the very basic little, situation here. So if this happens, which it does, okay, this is a perfect example. Have you guys ever had the example of like, you go and buy a car, right? And you buy the new silver Honda Pilot, and you're so excited, you're driving it down the street, and all of a sudden there's 12,000 other silver Honda Pilots on the street. Has anyone ever had that happen? Okay, because I thought it was just me, but I swear this happens to everyone. It's because before, your filter was like, we don't give a crap about silver Honda Pilots, so we're not going to even bring that to your forefront of your mind. But you kind of told your filter, oh, I like silver Honda Pilots now. And so when that comes in through your sensory, your RAS or your filter goes, oh, we need to pay attention to this, okay? There's a really fun thing on YouTube if you guys want to Google it. In fact, I'll just email it to everybody. It's a simple little exercise. It's 1 minute and it's so cool. 4 guys in a white t-shirt, 4 guys in a black t-shirt. And it's a 1 minute video, and all it says is count how many times the white guys pass the basketball. They just, doing little basketball moves, all 8 of them. And so you just do that. You just sit there and go 1, 2, 3, as many times as you want. And what you don't notice, though, is there's this big, humongous black gorilla that walks clear in front of them, right in front. In fact, I'll probably tell you this and you still won't even notice, because your brain was looking for only how many times the white guys passed the basketball. I just watched it last night. I've seen it 5 times, and I still missed the black gorilla coming across because I didn't train my filter to look for it. So anyway, I don't want to get too far into that, but I love this stuff and I teach it all the time. I love it. So anyway, if we have 450 words per minute kind of coming out in your body language, this is not a problem, but here's what happens. You can come across as confused, or you can come across as like kind of almost a liar, and you don't want to do that. Or your kids are telling you one thing and you're like, wait, that does not seem right. So here's a couple little things that I'm gonna give you some do's and do nots. Beware of your body language, and you'll start to know what your real beliefs are and what's really going on kind of inside you. If you're always standing like this, so what's up, kids? You know what I'm saying? This kind of puts a little bit of a defensive mode on for your children, and it's probably not going to be the best thing in the world. So, or if you're always like, yeah, honey, I'm so interested in what you have to say. This is really great stuff. I'm so open to everything that you're saying right now. And do you see how, like, what I'm saying is I'm showing that you're a little bit more closed off? Or when you're talking to people, maybe you could watch and see how a lot of people are always like doing one of these. So you see my feet? You've got one foot ready to like run out the door because you're done with the conversation. So people perceive that subconscious to subconscious. Rolling your eyes is probably the worst thing you probably could do to anyone in the entire world. You do that and you're basically saying, I've scanned my entire being and I feel like I can't find anything in here and you're worthless. I mean, it's like the worst thing that you could possibly do. That's a don't. Last one probably is keep your hands visible. Okay, you don't have to be crazy with your gestures like me or whatever, but you can just keep your hands visible. Doing this all the time with your hands like way in your pocket shows that you're hiding something and that it looks kind of like thievish. Or doing your military stance where people can't see your hands, make it seem like you're less trustworthy. Does that kind of make sense? How am I doing on time, Trent?
You're over.
Oh, I'm over. And on that note, I'd like to just say, be aware of what your body is doing, because it's going to indicate kind of what's really going on inside of your brain, and then you can kind of get the two to collaborate, and you won't be so confusing looking, and you won't have communication problems with your family, friends, or whomever you come in contact with. That's it.